for all of you newbies, I am Trish Taylor. Who am I? I'm an amazing woman, and I'm about to take you on an amazing journey. Who am I? I'm a licensed massage therapist and a holistic health practitioner, and I have been on an unraveling journey for the last, I would say, more than a decade, about 3 decades, but serious unraveling and overcoming in the past 2.5, well, it'll be 3 years in March. Okay. So, I declared the other day, the 30th is when I posted in the Fascia Blasters for women over 40s group page. I posted that I was going to do on today, January 1st, this 40-day fast, and it got approved. You all saw it. And I am so overwhelmed and so grateful and humbled that you want to go on this journey with me. And I just got to say thank you so much. The comments have been 100% positive and so supportive and loving. And that is the group that I chose to basically go public about my fast, because I felt so safe in this group with my blasting sisters that you all were going to be super supportive. Even in some of the fasting groups that I have been in, I'm not going to call it negative comments. I'm going to say other people's fears were projected in their comments. And that's why I've kept my fasting so private, because we all have our education levels, our knowledge levels, and our opinions and our perceptions. And I don't want to offend anyone with the choices that I make. And so I've kept it very private so that I didn't have to make people feel threatened about their own existence by what I was doing. Okay. So, I started this journey for reals October 1st. At the end of September, I was on a conversation with my sister, and I said, this got to change. And I did a lot of praying, and all of a sudden I found Dr. Cywes, Cywes. He's a bariatric surgeon down in West Palm Beach. He just popped up as a suggested video on my Facebook, and I watched his video. And if you scroll through Isn't Life Yummy, you'll come across this actual video of his where he talks about the personality types. And it's where I really couldn't deny anymore that I am a carbohydrate addict. I've known it for years, but I never admitted it out loud until after this video, that I actually do use carbohydrates to shove down emotion, escape reality, escape responsibility, and a way to destroy my physical body and my spiritual well-being and my emotional well-being, right? Because I'm shoving it all down. And he helped me to see that. Then he also pointed out some narcissistic tendencies. And I had to really, swallow my pride. And I admitted to my family that I have learned that I am a narcissist. And I am ready to take the bull by the horns and heal. Come clean, be honest with me and my loved ones that this has been a problem, and I'm on the road to healing it. And so in October, the end of September-ish, I made a plan that I was going to take control of my life, and that I was going to overcome the struggles and challenges that have been presented to me since birth, and that I was going to overcome, and I was going to triumph, and that my why was all about 100% me, that I was doing this for me, and that I was worth this effort. And if I didn't make me worth this effort, it was never going to happen, right? And so I took a flight in August, and in the air on the flight, I gained like 20 pounds. I swelled up my face, my hands, my ankles, and I was doing business. I was working on this trip, and I was so embarrassed that I looked unhealthy, and I'm the health expert, right? And so that got me on this path to get serious. And knowing that I had a flight the 8th of October, and I couldn't repeat this cycle, and I couldn't take Lasix just to get rid of the water and be balanced, that it was bigger than just water gain. It was a symptom, right? And so I started doing emotional work along with, in October, I started 44 hours of fasting, and then I would eat within a 4-hour window. And then I would start another 44 hours of fasting with a 4-hour window. And I just did that all month long. And the wonderful thing about it was, on my business trip in October, it was so easy to fast while I was on my business trip because I wasn't around a kitchen. And the one meal I had during that trip, I had planned and made reservations to a really good restaurant that I love in that city. And I had no weight gain on that business trip. So I identified what the issue was, and I dealt with it emotionally. And starting the fasting was phenomenal. Just the quick turnaround from the middle of September to the middle of October was phenomenal. So in November, I did 72-hour fasts with a 4-hour eating window. And I'll tell you, I'm not going to lie, November was one of the hardest months. Emotion started coming up, and I had a hard time getting past hour 62, hour 67. And I really didn't want to deal with the emotion. I got pissy and moody, and it was a really hard month. But a lot of stuff came up, and I was ready for December 1st. So December 1st, I had the plan that I was going to do what I was calling a half a Jesus fast. So I would fast for 20 days. And knowing how rough November was, I was really scared. And second day in, I got a UTI, full-blown bladder infection on day 2, second day of December. And emotions can get stuck in parts of the body, and fear and worry, they will go straight to your bladder and kidneys. And so as a professional, I say fear is housed in the kidneys and bladder. And so I wasn't, okay, I think this was my fourth or fifth. I don't think it was my fifth. I don't think I've had 5 UTIs in my life. And so to say I wasn't surprised, okay, I was a little shocked that I had a UTI. However, being day 2 on a 20-day fast, I've never fasted longer than 72 hours. I wasn't shocked or surprised that all this fear was screaming out, holy crap, you're not going to eat for 20 days? What are you talking about? Right? And I mean, it was bam. I woke up and I'm like, oh, what the heck is this? And by day 3, I had a fever and chills and aches. I mean, the whole 9 yards. And so I took care of the UTI for the rest of that week. And it was really interesting, the things that came up during this 20-day fast. So my shopping increased. October, I still cooked for everybody in my house. My kids are still living at home. They're all adults, but they still live and work in their careers from the house. They're all unmarried. And so I was still cooking meals. And so I told them in November that I wasn't going to cook. And I still kept cooking. And so I told them in December, I'm not going to cook. And I still cooked. And what I started to pay attention to what I was doing, one, I was avoiding emotion. Two, I was still stuck in my addictive behavior and my toxic relationship with food. That I was still, I wasn't eating, I wasn't tasting. And apparently I made some really kick-ass meals in December and without tasting any of it. That was really, really interesting. So I noticed that cooking meals every day for my family was not an act of love for my family. It was control and the toxic relationship I still had with food. Okay, so what am I cooking? Well, this is my Isn't Life Yummy channel, is my keto journey. So October 1st, well, actually the third week in September, I went 100% keto. No more playing around, no more going through the drive-thru for French fries during this lockdown, shoving emotion down. I saw my carb addiction for what it was, and I said, okay, I'm done. I'm actually really done. And, but I was still involved with food in December. So, you might not be mixed up with carbs. Okay, so this is what I was saying. Sorry about that. I'm cooking keto meals and keto friendly meals. So let me go through. My husband, he does 23-1, but he's still on artificial sweetener. And so his weight is stalled. He's not gaining weight, but he's not losing weight. And he's holding most of his weight in his belly. But he basically lives 23 hours, he fasts, and then he eats one meal a day. And then he fasts for another 23 hours, and he eats one meal a day. And my oldest, she's eating 1.5 to 2 meals a day. She has, I think she bloomed to 145, and she's down to 128. And she's gone keto, kicking and screaming, because she is a huge carb addict. She's 5'2", and so she's still got a little bit more to lose. Now, my second daughter, she's been 23-1 since I live in Florida, since the state reopened and she went back to work. She gained during the lockdown. And so she went on to 23-1. She eats one meal a day. Some days that's keto, some days that's not keto. And she has basically lost her quarantine weight and is back down to around a size 6. And then my son, he struggles the same way I struggle. And when he's working, he works Monday through Friday. So he's 23-1 on the weekdays, and then he kind of enjoys himself on the weekends. I think that's just normal. But I just want you to, I'm just laying the foundation of how often I'm cooking. So in December, I probably spent about $1,200 on food. So that is a really unhealthy relationship with food, because that was all keto approved foods, and just way too much shopping surrounding myself with food. So that's going towards that bad addiction of, I need food. I need to be surrounded here and in my house to feel safe. And I started recognizing that as the month went on. I avoided writing about it. I avoided videotaping about it. And I did not take one note except mental notes. And so in December, during that 20-day fast, some of the positives, I was in a restaurant 5 times with my family. And each time I sat there while they ate, and I started to notice the speed at which we eat. You know, they were eating. And I said, you know, I think I'm learning that we go to these really nice restaurants in really nice areas and we don't enjoy the experience. For instance, we were at the Polynesian Resort at Disney World in the Kona Cafe eating breakfast before heading over to the Magic Kingdom. And my husband and my daughter, they're looking over the menu and they're going to get something really Hawaiian infusion. And it's really an experience, right? You're in this beautiful Polynesian hotel, and the music, the Christmas decorations, and the food, you know, the Polynesian style food. And I said, you know, it's not just $20 for a meal, it's $20 to sit here in this beautiful place and enjoy each other's company, be in the present moment, and really pay attention to what you're doing. And as I was talking and I was looking at the lights and I was looking out over the lobby, and I started to notice that they started to slow down and started to put their forks down. They weren't ready for the next load. And we all just kind of sat back and, you know, wow, you got a point. And I was just like, wow, how many times do I get so excited to go somewhere, the food comes, one, I forget to take a picture of it, right? Because now we're all in the habit, we got to take a picture of the pretty food. But I'm shoveling away, scraping it up, and I'm not even paying attention to the present moment. I'm just get it down, right? And that was, I think, the big takeaway, because I didn't just stay at home. I went out. My family, they all met at a restaurant. We all came from our different places and we met at a barbecue restaurant. And I sat there and I loved just sitting there and listening to them, because they'd all finished their day. We all met together and they all were just talking about their day, and I so enjoyed not eating. And I wasn't tempted in any of these restaurants that I wanted to break my fast, but it became so enjoyable to just sit there and actually listen. Because when I'm actively participating in eating, I'm not present. I'm actively eating. And it was such an amazing experience to just sit there and listen and be present with my children and my husband. And wow, what a light bulb moment. Now, I know that's how a lot of people are, you know, but in my family growing up, you spent days cooking Thanksgiving or Christmas, and then in 3 to 5 minutes, you're done, right? Where, I don't know, Hollywood, I guess, when you sit down at the table, you're sitting at that table for like an hour and a half and you're enjoying the next course and you're conversing. That was not my reality in life at all. You better hurry and eat that food before your brothers steal it off your plate. You know, and here you are racing through and just really growing up with that scarcity mindset. And so I was really cognizant of what I was realizing and really unwinding that tape in my head to eat it all or else somebody's going to steal it. And that was very powerful recognition for me with going out to eat. So I finished my fast December 20th, and I started to grow in anxiety waiting for today, for New Year's Day. my anxiety kept growing and growing. And most people will go, yeah, you're going to do a 40-day fast. My anxiety was not growing because of the fast. My anxiety was starting to grow because of the food. I didn't crave anything, and when I would make something, so when I broke my fast, I made eggs, and I had a little smoked salmon. And a lot of my loved ones around me, why would you pick eggs and smoked salmon? And I'm like, well, for the last 5 days, that's the only thing that sounded actually really good, was a French omelet and some smoked salmon. And I knew that that would be easy on my system as well, to reintroduce food back into my body. And but I made it, and it was like, I don't want this. And everything I made, almost everything I made, it was like, oh, this is so not worth it. Oh, this is so not worth it. And then really the only thing I craved were sandwiches. Okay, so at Trader Joe's, they have these little, okay, so there's my face. So little cauliflower thins. They're pretty expensive. You get 4 in a package, it's $4. So each thin is 1 carb and $1. And I was craving sandwiches. So I had to go all the way an hour and 10 minutes to the closest Trader Joe's from me. I had to go buy them, but it was the iceberg lettuce. So here in Florida, we have lettuce season, and right now is lettuce season because it's just too hot and muggy in Florida to actually get really yummy, water, crispy, juicy iceberg lettuce. And iceberg lettuce is water and fiber. There's zero nutrition. You know, if you're going to eat a salad, choose other lettuces. Don't choose iceberg because there's no nutritional value. But that's what my body was wanting. More water, more fiber. And so I got the cauliflower thins. I got iceberg lettuce, really thick, you know, on the bread of iceberg lettuce. I use Chosen Foods mayonnaise. It's the only mayonnaise brand that doesn't include other bad oils for you. It's 100% avocado oil. So I used mayonnaise and red onion, and then some meat and cheese. And I made a sandwich. I had 5 of those in 11 days. And that was the only thing that really was satisfying, I would say. I went out a couple times. Last Sunday before New Year's, my husband and I went back to the Grand Floridian at Disney World, and we went for breakfast. And it was my only non-keto meal I had since September. And we had some lobster Benedict and some chicken and waffles. And it was really interesting. I was really excited about it and really just like, oh, wow, this is going to be so good. And it really wasn't. The food was great, you know, but I, somewhere in these October, November, and December fasts, started redefining my relationship with food. And I didn't know it because I was fasting. And no matter what I put in my mouth, it didn't have that emotional connection anymore. And iceberg lettuce was floating my boat over chicken and waffles. That was really fascinating to me. And during this 40 days, I'm not going to avoid. I want to know why. And I know it's because I'm unraveling that toxic relationship and that emotional connection. You know, that, oh, stop crying, here's a cookie. That emotional tie to food is golly jeepers. I'm not going to say it's gone, but I'm saying it's waning. It's waning, and it's on its way out the door. And that is such a gift of healing. Sorry. I would lose weight, get on the scale, and this number on the scale would scare me. And I would eat. Oh gosh. I would bake, and I would consume, and I would bake, and I would consume. And if you want to gain weight, baked goods, cake, you will gain so much weight. French fries, they are not your friend. You will gain weight very rapidly. And so the scale, you know, in all weight loss groups, the scale is not your friend. I'm in Eat Like a Bear Facebook group. Excellent group. If you are looking for the most supportive weight loss group, go to Amanda Rose's page, Eat Like a Bear. These women are like my blaster sisters. They're, I don't want to say this, this is not a negative. They're at a different vibration than my blasting sisters. Because Eat Like a Bear, we're dealing with the hard stuff that comes with weight loss, that vicious cycle that we get stuck in, that same 50 pounds for 15 years, right? You lose 50 pounds, you get the fear of exposure, so you put the 50 pounds back on, and then you've got to lose it again because you're not ready to deal with the why. My blasting sisters, when we read Ashley's book, we find out that blasting the fascia unravels the fascia, and what is tied up in the fascia is fat and emotion and fascia, and it's tied in knots. The fat can't get out, the emotion can't get out. We blast with a blasting tool, and we release emotion, and we have breakdowns which lead to breakthroughs. And a lot of blasting sisters of mine, forgive me, emotion makes my nose run. My blasting sisters may not have weight to lose, but they have very bound fascia or fascial adhesions. And as they release that fascia and they release that emotion, they're having breakdowns and breakthroughs. And when you have a breakdown and then you have this breakthrough, it raises your vibration. It raises your frequency. And so in my weight loss group, like Eat Like a Bear, and Aloha Keto, I love Aloha Keto. Aloha Keto has been such a godsend for me. Thank you so much to them. We still are dealing with a lot of fear around our weight loss, and we tend to project that onto each other sometimes. And so when I decided to go public in my fascia blasting group, I knew I was safe there, because your fears aren't my fears wrapped around weight like they are wrapped around fascia. And I knew I was safe with you. And for those of you that follow me on this page, I haven't done a video since I think August, because I really fell off the wagon hard. I was embarrassed and I was punishing myself. And I didn't want you to see me punishing myself. And I've learned so much in that being a narcissist. The thing that sets us apart from narcissists are there's zero compassion for self. And we have zero tolerance for anything but sheer perfection. Perfection is a narcissistic tendency. And Dr. Seiwes goes in to that more. And so I would say go to his YouTube page or scroll down Isn't Life Yummy till you find it, because perfection is a narcissistic tendency, because we just never feel we're good enough because we're not perfect. And that's a narcissistic tendency. And I'm not here to argue it. I'm just telling you the information given to me And it's what resonated with me, because growing up, if I weren't perfect, I wasn't loved. That was my perception. That's how I viewed the world, and built this perfectionistic complex. And now every day I make sure I show myself compassion. I'm quick to forgive myself, and I know I'm good enough just breathing and getting up in the morning and trying my best. That has been the biggest gift, is the compassion for myself. And you cannot give what you don't have. And so I know that as I show myself compassion, I have compassion to give to my husband and my children and those that I work with. And it has blessed my life so much. And you are a blessing in my life, because when I posted that in the fashion group and you all started going, oh, we want to follow, I was like, oh no, I really got to do this. And I called my business manager and I said, what do I do? And so she said, you're going to videotape every day. And so this video every day is really going to be me honest about my day. And apparently, so Rhonda is my mentor, and she's been through this fast, and she has been such a big, huge blessing helping me prepare for January, and she's walking every step with me. And then a few of you have decided to walk with me. So I'm hoping in these videos every day that as emotion comes up, that I am going to be honest. I'm going to probably have a lot more of these and be emotional, but that it's going to come out and we're going to heal together and we're going to strengthen each other. It's going to be an amazing journey, because it has been since October 1st. And I'm so glad I had the courage to put myself out there and invite you all along. It means so much to me to have you come along. So you got my before pictures, and that is mid-progress, 50 pounds down, and I've got 90 pounds to go. That was really cool when I hit that 99 pounds left on my, my goal weight is about 160. When I get to 160, that is in the middle range of the BMI scale, right? I figure I'll reevaluate when I get to 160, because 160 is, for my height, I'm 5'10", and I'm very small boned. So 160 should put me right in. You are not overweight. You are within your measurements. And I figure by then I will know how to tweak here and there. And my goal is I'm going to declare it here. Oh my goodness. I fell in love with body sculpting, weightlifting. I love to weightlift. I felt so powerful for the first time when I started weightlifting. And so you can't do much exercise when you do these huge long fasts. But I do TRX, and I do and I walk Disney once a week, and I do heavy deep tissue and injury repair, and that in itself is like being in the gym doing calisthenics for an hour. I come out thoroughly shaky, and so I get plenty of exercise during this fast. But my goal is to enter a body competition in 2022. So in 2021, I will be going back to my lifting and my body sculpting and my body vacuuming to start to prepare and get my body fat down to the presentable for my weight, not my weight, my age, because I will be 55 in April this year. And I want to enter a competition to kind of cap this whole journey off. Chris and Heidi Powell were really a big inspiration in that. And I met a group of women in a competition in Vegas when I was there for a medical convention years ago. And they surrounded me and showed me so much love and cheered me on to keep that dream alive. And that was, I believe, in, I want to say 2014, 2015, and I was over 340 pounds, and I was going to the gym, so it was 2014, 2015, and I was getting in shape, and they really inspired me to keep going and to see this dream into reality. So that is going to be the cap, like, you know, cherry on top after all this unraveling, overcoming, and seeing it through. So I declared it right there in public for everyone to know that that's what we're going to do. Hallelujah. You don't have to see this in a string bikini. I'm going to wait until I get down to weight. But God bless you all. Thank you so much for joining me in this journey. And I'm excited to see you tomorrow. All right. God bless. Have a great evening.